Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of We're the New Adults, Season 1. Today's episode is going to be episode 6, Stand in Your Own Lane. Let me tell y'all, this episode today is going to be very special only because I find it very important. Of course, I find all my episodes important, but I find this one especially important because I feel like with our generation becoming the new adults, I like to use this quote a lot: comparison is the thief of joy. And when you break that down, it's like comparison is the thief of joy. Everyone has joy, but it's like whenever you compare yourself to someone, that can easily take away your joy just by feeling like you're supposed to be in whatever situation that person you're comparing to is in. Just because one person is doing something doesn't mean that you have to be doing the exact same thing. And there's nothing wrong with feeling like, okay, this person inspired me or this person encouraged me to do this or move forward with this. But don't feel like you're lacking if you're not on the same page as whoever you're inspired by or whoever you're encouraged by. Obviously, we are raised and we're brought up by our parents. And most of the time, we fall into the patterns that our family members who raised us have. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes we like some of the habits that our parents have. Sometimes we don't like some of the habits that our parents have. But it's up to us to choose what we want to take from our parents and what we want to leave, with our parents. And there's no shade to our parents because our parents do the best that they can. I was my mom's second child. Some people are the first child. And with that first child, I feel like parents are trying to figure it out still. They really don't have it all the way down to a T, but they're trying. So it's like, well, if you get to the point where you're an adult now and you look back on your childhood and it's like, okay, I realized my mom did this, I realized my dad did this, I don't really want to do that. That is no offense to your parents. That's just you being a good observer and becoming your own adult. I feel like we need to be more understanding to the fact that we don't necessarily have to follow traditional patterns. And I feel like sometimes people feel like they're stuck in traditional patterns. And that's why I want to make this episode, just to let you know that you're not stuck in whatever pattern that you feel like you're stuck in. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And it is okay to become your own adult. In my first podcast episode, I said that I feel like I got the introduction to adulthood in high school, graduating high school. For everyone, that is the point in your life where you can either make the decision to go to college, you can make the decision to continue working, or you can make the decision to start a life, period, point blank. Like, you don't have to necessarily do one thing or the other. It's up to you at that moment. What do you want to do? What do you feel like, okay, where do I see myself in this next chapter in my life? And for most of us, I feel like our parents do play a heavy role in that. Like, my parents are like, you're going to college, period, point blank. Like, you're going to college, you're getting your education. Whatever you do after that is on you. And I respect them for doing that only because I feel like college is important. Education is important. Let me say education is important. I think my parents just had that understanding, maybe from how they were raised, that education is everything, and that they knew that they were going to put that and instill that within their kids. So I do appreciate my parents for doing that. But with that being said, there were classmates of mine that went straight into working. There are classmates of mine that literally just went into moving into their own place and starting their life. And that is not to say that one decision was better than the other or someone was doing better than someone else. It's all up to that person and wherever they see their self going and whatever future that they want for themselves. I went to college and I moved in on campus. I stayed in a dorm. It was a private suite. It was me and my roommate, and we each had our own like room or whatever. But that was like my first taste of like living by myself, like living away from home, not with my mom, not having to be under the supervision of my mom. So I was, I was living, and I feel like I was doing the thing. I felt like I was grown. I was on scholarship, so it really wasn't no bills I was having to worry about. It was really just responsibilities of upkeep of a house, basically. And that was not the best decision for me. And it's like, I'm really happy that I didn't go away to college, only because if I would have went away to college and the way that first semester went for me with staying by myself in my dorm, I would have been devastated having to come back home. So that just goes back to everything happens for a reason, and your journey is your own journey. With that being said, So with me staying on campus, with me staying in my own dorm and everything, sharing it with the suite mate, but basically once again having our own space, I realized that okay, I really don't know one to two things about what it takes to have my own place, and I was young at the time, but it was still things that I feel like I should have known how to do and that I should have known better. Like there were these I don't know what they call them. Um what do they call them? Oh my god. There were these basically the people that watch over the dorms and the students, they're older students. They watch over what are they called? I don't want to say RNs. Are they RNs? I'm not really sure. But the people who watch over the dorms, they will come by and they basically grade you on your upkeep of your dorm, whether it's cleanliness, I think mostly cleanliness. And I'm not a dirty person. I truly am not a dirty person. But when it came to me balancing going to class, working my job, and everything, there were a few things around my dorm that weren't the most kept up. It wasn't. And I got a bad grade one time on my dorm, and I remember my suite mate, he was like, I think his parents, I think they had came by the dorm and they saw that we had got a bad grade on our dorm. And honestly, he did a great job with keeping his side of the house up and his side of the suite up. It was really me that was, yeah. So his parents, I think they had said something to him about it, and they were like, so it just looked bad. It looked bad on me. It looked bad on me and my mama and how she raised me, because she raised me better than that. But with that being said, I was not ready after high school to move in by myself. Let alone I had someone to share with, and thank God half of the place was clean. But let that have been my own place, the whole house would have been a mess. It would have been a mess. But that just goes to show that although other people moved out and were mature enough to have their own place, and I don't know what the inside of no one's home looks like. I don't. And that's just me judging, from the outside looking in on whatever their household situation looked like. But I do know there were a good bit of people that after they graduated high school, they moved into their own place. I admired that about them. I really did. I kind of envied them in a way. I'm like, oh my God, like they got their own place. I'm tired of being at my mama house, you know. But looking back, I'm so grateful that the dorm didn't work out and I ended up moving back home because my grades went up, everything went better. I ended up learning a whole lot being at home, which I could have learned more with being by myself, but I learned what I need to learn with being at home. Now, I'm at the stage, I'm 23 years old, I finished school, and I'm ready to be on my own. I feel like me taking the time to leave has helped me grow as an individual. I feel like a lot of people are forced out of their home, and it's very unfortunate to me because everyone has different ways that they're raised, and some parents feel like once you're 18, okay, you're out, period, point blank. Whether it's school, whether it's whatever you're choosing, you're out of my house. And I appreciate my mom so much, and I appreciate all the parents out there who give their children a chance to figure out what it is that they want to do, and without forcing them to feel like they have to leave, because that just does nothing but create, I feel like, a gap in the relationship of parent and child. um which everyone, like I said, is different. Maybe some people find that as normal, for their kid at 18 to be put out and eventually living on their own, at that young age. But once again, I knew that it not working out for me was like, okay, it wasn't my time. It wasn't my time to be living on my own. I knew eventually that would come for my time to be living on my own. But that just goes to say that just because my other classmates lived on their own, or my other classmates chose to go ahead and jump into the workforce or whatever, that didn't necessarily mean that I had to. Or just because I went to college didn't mean that they had to go to college. When it comes to looking at your peers, in this world where our lives are plastered across social media, I literally have a battle within myself of, okay, I don't want to share too much, but I also do want to share a little bit. So it's a constant battle in my head of like how much to share and what to keep to myself. And I feel like a lot of people put their whole lives on social media, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you do, hey, that used to be me at one point in time. Literally, I'm posting where I'm eating at, I'm posting where I'm going, I'm posting me going to bed. Like, good night, y'all. Like, it was like literally, I didn't miss a beat, and people didn't miss a beat in my life because I posted it like all the time. Since we think we get a glimpse to people's life through this screen, through us looking through social media, we think we know somebody, and we think we know how somebody is doing, and you don't. You know, it may look good on the outside, but on the inside, it may not be as good as you think. So, a lot of time, and I find myself doing the same thing. I look on social media and I may see someone that's my age starting their own business, or I may see someone my age that's um an actor. You know, I want to be an actor one day, and when I see other people that are my age who have gotten the opportunities to be in movies or be in shows, and it's like because of where they're from or because of their parents, you know, going ahead and getting them in that job, in that career, it kind of makes me feel like, oh dang, like, you know, when is that gonna happen for me? Or am I behind? Like, am I not gonna have as much experience whenever I do get into being an inspiring actor? And that's not good to do. It's not good to judge your own life based on how you see someone else living their life. And of course, it's hard. I know that it's hard. Trust me, like I said, I find myself doing the same exact thing. I've gotten better with it with time, only because I realize that everything that you see is not what it seems. Um, and that takes maturing and realizing that at the end of the day, somebody can post that they are the most happiest, feel like, you know, that they are in a great season in their life posting wise, then turn around and commit suicide. And that's some of the things that we see in this generation, that, oh, I never would have thought this person would do this to themselves. Oh, not them, you know. And it's because of what we see on social media, and that's a whole story behind it, of people putting up a mask. You know, I feel like people who go through things, it is a protective mechanism to not let too many people know that what's really going on in your life isn't as good as it can be at the moment. And feeling like you kind of owe people an explanation, or owe people that, let me at least make it seem like it's going good, just because I know that everybody's in my business, and I know that people are gonna see this. I miss when social media had more vulnerability. Social media was so different back then. It was not this having to put up a front, not having to be on your P's and Q's 24/7. It's like you could post however that you wanted to post without feeling like, ooh, they shared this many times, or ooh, who in my story that's not supposed to be in my story, you know. And it's like a whole thing now that if you don't keep up to these standards on social media, then you're not doing good. You're not doing good. And that's not fair. It's not fair because, once again, everybody's journey is different. Everybody is on a different path. So you can't look at someone else, and it's really unfair, and it's really sad that how we look at ourselves has become what social media says about us. And yeah, that's just, it's no fun anymore. It's really no fun anymore. And that's why it was such a struggle for me to get back into the social media world, because I witnessed the change. Whenever I was making my content the way I was making my content back in 2016, 2017, social media was not the way it is today. I feel like everything is recycled, everything I've seen before, not gonna lie. And with this podcast, I wanted to make sure that I was being different. Although that these conversations may be conversations that have been heard before, I just wanted to make sure that I was giving my opinion, and make sure that I was giving a different point of view to a recycled subject. My journey is my journey. I'm not going to maneuver, or I'm not going to switch up what I feel, or switch up what I feel like I should do, just because someone else is doing something different, or a group of people are doing something different. I think that is maturing. That is adulting. That is growing up, realizing that you are the only person in control of you, and that just because other people are doing something, or just because other people think something, that does not necessarily mean that you have to believe or think in the same way. There can be highs for some people, and there can be lows for others. Just because someone else is at a high and that you're at a low, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get to your high. You know, we all have our different moments, and it's just about supporting our peers in those moments, whether it's a low or a high. You know, I feel like we lack a lot of support in this generation because we're just so worried about judging and we're so worried about, keeping up this facade. It's like no one really knows how you're doing. No one really knows how you're feeling. Let's stop comparing ourselves. Let's stop putting up this facade on social media that social media has created within itself. And let's go back to everybody being their own individual. But with that being said, we are all new adults. We all are having our own different unique paths and journeys. That does not make someone else's journey better than yours. That doesn't make you worse than anyone else. It just means that what's for you is for you, and what's for you will never pass you. But guys, that's the end of this episode. I want to encourage y'all to follow my Instagram at We're the New Adults. I want to interact with you guys. I want to know, what are y'all trying to see? Like, what do y'all want me to talk about? Like, let me know. I just really want to engage with my people. And even with this podcast, just because I'm making a quote unquote guidebook to being a new adult, that does not mean that my journey is not going to look like your journey. This is just to let you know that if you are going through the same thing, that you're not alone. But just because I'm posting and letting you know that, oh, this, that, and the other happened to me, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen to you. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should be wanting it to happen to you. This just all goes back to, this is just my story. This is just my opinions. These are just things that I've noticed with becoming a new adult. And I just want to have this platform to be able to share with other new adults, just so once again that you feel like you're not alone. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.